What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Movement Mindset powered by Station Athletics. I'm Chris Hardenberg here with Joe Pasalacqua. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about branding.
I'm cold, bro.
I know it is actually kind of cold in here.
Mm.
I said that to Brandon. It's the fall now. That does happen.
Misery is around the corner.
Did you know this? He gets like so sad in the winter.
Season depression at its finest.
Oh,
Bad.
Armando is.
Is Armando like that too?
I don't know about Sab, but he gets like this real like hermit.
I get
Oh
bad.
And then
no!
around spring, all of a sudden it's like
That's what happens to Joe.
Yeah, because no, listen, you go from being in the sun makes me feel great. I'm jacked and tan, and then the sun is gone. It's only up for like 6 hours a day.
It was so hard.
It's
to
a
get
fucking
out.
misery.
It was so hard for me to get out of bed
I
this
know.
morning.
That's what I'm saying.
And I'm usually right up.
Uh-huh.
But all right, seasonal
All right,
depression
back to-
aside, branding. So we're just going to be talking about building the title of the episode is Building a Brand, especially when you screw it up from the start, which is
Mhm.
exactly what we did. So I'm gonna let Joe run, but just to provide some context, right? As we grew back in 2018, 2019, a lot of what we were searching for is like Joe from the jump, and Marquand mentioned this in his interview, was like from the jump, Joe was like, we're gonna grow this thing into a friggin' behemoth and take over everyone. But we were still kind of looking for and searching for where our path was.
Yeah.
And so I'll let you talk on it. But essentially, like we had multiple brands under one.
And I rebrand, and then it was a mess. Right. So we started off with CrossFit Sparta
Mhm.
in Sparta, New Jersey, and that was the brand, right? It was, I messed around with a couple different names. Sparta Station Athletics, because it was on Station Road, and then it evolved, and then I rebranded it to Station Athletics, is what we kind of
Yes.
we and that's what our brand is now.
Right.
Right. People don't really, the last 2 years has been a lot of like shuffling all these
Yeah.
components. But before I kind of get into that, so before you even started working with me,
Yeah.
so I opened Sparta,
Mhm.
right? That was his own brand. And then we opened up CrossFit Roseland,
Yes.
okay? Its own separate brand, okay? Then we opened the women's gym, Station Athletics for her, right? So 3 brands. And then we had a partnership in Verona,
Yeah.
with totally separate name,
Yep.
right? And then we opened up 2 other women's gyms,
Yes.
and then had CrossFit Steam in East Rutherford. Okay. So we had 7 locations. 3 of them were the same. And originally I'm like, we're going to run with the women's only model.
Yeah.
And then after some trial and error, we decided, you know what? 80% of our demographic on all the new locations are basically females anyway. So it's kind of stupid to
Right.
just strictly make it a women's only gym going forward. The one up here is great. That's never going to change. But you and me look at the 2 gyms. We just talked about this off air about like, it's really like, okay, we have 2 separate locations, but it's really one business.
Yeah.
Because they go very well together.
Well, they complement each
they
other.
complement
Yeah.
each other really well. Okay. So as I'm doing that, like if you are listening to this and you know the CrossFit space, and if you're a micro gym owner, you know that you're only allowed to own one affiliate, right? So when we had the one affiliate, CrossFit Sparta,
Mhm.
then we had to do another affiliate, and we actually put that affiliate in Marquand's name,
Right.
because that's the only way that you can do it. But the problem with that is you're branding it with that CrossFit gym. So CrossFit Sparta was its own brand. Then you had CrossFit Roseland, which was its own brand. What you see in some scenarios is you see stuff like, a great example, right? I started CrossFit at CrossFit 908 in West, in Berkeley Heights.
Yeah.
Right. So the owners there, they have their brand, and then they have their 2 subsidiary brands. Okay.
Yeah.
And that's typically how people do it. But they always keep that CrossFit component within it as like the lead, when that should never be the case, because you have all these different brands every single time.
Right.
So what does that come with? That comes with 2 fucking URLs. You have 2 websites to manage. You got 2 sources of everything, even if they follow the same program. It's just 2 of everything. It is just like, is it a lot? It creates a tremendous amount of work. You backflash to this, it's like, well, it was like so stupid to do that. But it was like the only thing that you really knew, because CrossFit kind of forces you into not really creating a single brand.
Well, they didn't want to run into a situation where people would take their name.
Well,
and
that's what they were
and start to
doing.
franchise. it,
Victus was
basically.
doing that.
Yeah.
NC Fit was doing that. There was some other places that started to do that. It was like an affiliate program within an affiliate program.
Yes, exactly. And they didn't want that because
No.
they wanted, their thing was like survival of the fittest. So like, okay, everyone had an affiliate, but
Mhm.
they didn't want you, or you just mentioned 2 other ones, Jason Khalipa or CJ, basically gobbling up half the marketplace.
So when I was very friendly with them,
Yeah.
in Invictus in California, CJ was opening a new location at the time. It's still open, but
Yeah.
he was like, oh, I got to put in my mom's name.
Yes.
right? It was good because his mom was involved in the business. So it was okay, but it's like, that's literally what he had to do. When you have one of the biggest figures in fitness and competitive CrossFit,
Yeah.
literally is like, this is bullshit. I can't even own 2 affiliates.
Right.
And I'm like a powerhouse in California.
Oh yeah, he dominates the San Diego area.
That's kind of like my point is like, so he created his brand Invictus, right? But his main location was CrossFit Invictus.
Yeah.
Right. And then he had to do CrossFit Invictus and then like a subsidiary, right?
Yeah.
Like, and that's what he had to do. So basically a few years back, even before COVID, we're like kind of talking. It was like, this is like kind of a mess.
Yeah.
It was just a lot and then a lot of like our advertising gets all jammed up because you have all different ad platforms and you can't use the same ads to overlap to other locations because the logos are all different. The offers are different. Like everything is like different.
Yeah.
So it creates something that should be maybe 10 hours of work now is 30 hours of work.
Yeah.
Right. Especially. So it's very, very difficult to grow. And then from an exit perspective, right? Because if you're a business owner or you want to open a business or you're a micro gym owner, you should always be thinking about what is your exit.
Yeah, of course.
Okay? I have no intentions of selling the gyms.
Right.
Okay. But the exit is it's a lot easier to combine this and package it if it was all the same.
Well, and if you're a business owner, again, just to provide some context around that, it's like at the end of the day, you own a business for that exit one day where it's like, that's where I make the bulk of my money, right? So anyways, continue.
Yeah. That's how we kind of started to roll there is like, I have all these different brands, right? Different logos, different this. Remember, or like, here's like, this is the worst marketing material.
Oh my gosh.
Hey, we need CrossFit Roseland folders. Now we need Station Athletic folders. I need For Her folders. I need Verona fold. Like it was everything. Sell sheets.
Well, I was just about to say that. Even the sell sheets and the meal plans, it's like, I need a version of this meal plan for this gym, a meal plan for this
now
gym.
What do we do? So since we coincided the brand, and I'll circle back in a second, we have a Google Drive that has Station Athletics everything.
Yeah.
There's no like per location based things anymore outside of the everything is generic.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter if it's a women's gym, a CrossFit gym, or like our new gym in Westfield. It doesn't matter. The meal plans are all the same and they're all branded underneath Station Athletics. Our contracts are all branded under Station Athletics. Like you don't have to worry about that component of it.
Yeah.
Okay. Which consumes a shit ton of working hours. We had a full-time design person.
Yeah.
Danny, who still works for us, she was full-time and right, dude, what did she used to do? She would spend hours changing like marketing material. And it was like, I had this design person, but I was like, what a waste of time and money, honestly.
Yeah.
Right. And her job was very effective for what it was. But like when you hire someone full-time and you want to get 40 hours a week of work and half of it is just
changing contracts
and logos and like
instead
bullshit.
of developing new stuff.
Exactly.
Right.
It's all about new development. So after COVID, as soon as we like got a grasp on like, okay, we got control again over everything, you and me sat and I said to you, hey, we're going to rebrand everything to being Station Athletics.
Yeah.
The website's being redone. All the locations are going to be on one site. Everything is exactly the same down to we are now going to have Station Athletics. And if people know our brand, it's at whatever the township.
Yeah.
Right. So Station Athletics at Sparta, Station Athletics at Roseland, Westfield, etc., all the way down. And that's going forward with all the new locations that are upcoming in the next year. Right. And the point of that is now we completed our cookie cutter model of we can open gyms very, very efficiently now because we know exactly what we're doing on the branding, the marketing, everything is the same.
Yeah.
We have, in my opinion, just about a model that I think that operates at like a 95% effective rate.
Yeah.
We opened Westfield. That's what we said, right? There was a couple little things that we didn't do the way that we should have, but like we did it 95% correct. Okay. And it's because the brand is all coinciding now.
Yeah. I mean,
from everything.
It's something you said when we started to talk about the branding thing that made a lot of sense to me. You're like, we have all these different brands. And I was like, okay. But you're like, no, if we nail this, we want to open more locations. We need to streamline our brand so that when we put up the helmet on a building and put up Station Athletics,
you know what it is.
People look at it and they go, oh, a gym's going in there. I know what their program entails. I'm going to go in and
great example, right? This is how I explained it to you.
Yeah.
Right. I used F45 and Orange Theory.
Yeah.
F45 is a publicly traded company. No one would know what the fuck F45 means until there was hundreds and hundreds or thousands of locations.
Right.
Because then it becomes a brand awareness. Orange Theory, that could be anything.
Right.
Right. So my same exact thing is like, if you don't have a coinciding brand, you lose the benefit of being a powerhouse per se in like, let's just use the micro drum business, right? I don't know of any micro gym owner that owns more than 2 of the same business.
Right.
2 gyms, call it.
Yeah.
It could be out there. I don't know. But in our area and in New Jersey, I know of 2 places, 2 owners that have 2 locations that are the same brand.
Mhm.
Okay. They may have another location, but it's a different brand.
Right.
Okay. It was like a subsidiary, and they'll learn from their mistake, and they shouldn't do that.
Right.
Okay. Because the idea here is we do a really good job with our advertising, but from a business perspective, I want to be able to go into, let's just say Summit or Randolph or Hoboken, right? I already have a general idea. People have a general idea of what it is that we go to.
Yeah.
It almost gives you like an extra leg to stand on, because you're like, oh, we're opening up a new location. And they go to your website and they see you have 6, 7, 8, 9 locations. Oh, okay. It gives you extra leeway of like, oh,
This is legit.
this is legit. This isn't just another gym opening up.
Yeah.
Okay.
And-
And we got a lot of feedback in Westfield about that.
Yes.
Okay. A lot of feedback was like, oh, wow, this is your guys' 6 locations. Like, yeah, this isn't a small operation.
Well, even from the staff perspective, that was the big thing. Like
Mhm.
we had, and credit to Haley and all the work she did in the interview process, but hiring staff at Westfield was the easiest it had been compared to all our other gyms. And a chunk of our staff was like, oh, you guys are coming into Westfield? Oh yeah, I'm in. Just because they had heard of what was
know.
going on, or like
Mhm.
they were at a local gym that had been failing and connected with us. And they're like,
Because
oh, I want to be a
people-
part of
We
that.
talked about this in one of the previous episodes, is people in this space do this because they love it.
Yeah.
It's very, very hard for them to make a living doing it unless they work for like a company like a Lifetime Fitness.
Yeah.
Right. Most of these gyms, if they're a successful gym, have maybe 1, maybe 2 full-time people from a staff perspective.
Right.
And that's typically a GM and maybe someone that's very heavily dominant in coaching classes, whether it's hourly or salary based. Okay. So what we're creating is a buzz of like, hey, you can make a living doing this.
Yeah.
Because this is what our comp structure looks like. This is how we're able to do it. This is how, like, we just hired an executive assistant, right? We have full-time media person,
Yeah.
right? Brandino.
Brandon, he got it.
Yeah. Right. So, but what I'm saying is like, we have like all these corporate expenses that we're able to absorb now to move at a really rapid pace.
Yeah.
But it's really easy. Think about how difficult if I said to, hey, Brandon, here's a video. Now I need you to make 6 fucking different copies of this. He would do it. but
He
like-
would do it.
But I'm taking,
Look at his face.
but like he would do it, but it's like, instead of it taking him 3 or 4 hours to edit the one video that we can use everywhere,
Yeah.
it would take him 15.
Yeah.
It's not effective.
Yeah.
Okay. Because it's it's effectiveness of developing brand awareness. So the realization was, we're going to rebrand everything.
Yeah.
Okay. And what kind of the problems did we run into? Staff and clients. It was more staff than
Yeah.
it was clients. Okay. The staff was like, oh, like, okay, well, Marquand will listen to this. Marquand is the type of person where it's like, it's kind of a little bit hard. They got to like twist his arm. Like, come on, dude, this is what we're doing.
Yeah.
Right. And he understands it now. I know
Yeah,
he does because
yeah,
he said it to me before.
Yeah.
People come to CrossFit Roseland because it's CrossFit Roseland.
Yeah.
But what the staff need to understand is like, they come to this gym not because it's a CrossFit or CrossFit Roseland.
Yeah.
It's because you're here,
Yes.
right? And because you're here, because the staff is here.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's why people stay.
That's why they stayed, right? So there was like a pushback of like, oh, it doesn't say it on the building anymore, right? It's like, but like, it's just, it was a rebranding for the purpose of repackaging the entire business to be able to take like massive steps forward.
Yeah. And at the end of the day, like that transition's always going to be a little rough because people fall in love with that specific location's brand. I've been going to this gym for forever and it's always had this logo. What's happening to us?
Mhm.
Right. So it can be a shock to the system, but from a member's perspective, when they realize, guys, literally nothing's changing. I'm still here. You're still here. We're all still doing the same program. They eventually calm down and get through it. And from a staff perspective, I think for a lot of people, when it realizes, no, this is actually going to be better for you because it's going to offer growth for you and for the entire company,
Mhm.
then it's like, oh, okay, well then this is better anyways. But yeah, that was a little
But
bit of a rocky
the clients
transition.
were like, oh, well, it's still, I'm like, the program doesn't change. It's
Yeah.
the same. I'm like, we're redoing the spaces. You're getting more branded equipment. It's going to look more centralized.
Yeah.
But the design was, in reality, all those things allow us to enhance the client service.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Okay. because the facilities are nicer.
Yep.
Okay. The like newer equipment goes in, everything is branded. We're able to cross manage things better, right? It's like, so it allows us to go back in, like what we just spent 2 years doing, redoing the client experience, right?
Yeah.
We'll talk about this in a different episode, but like we went into Westfield, people losing 30 pounds in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
People losing 7-8% body fat in 6 weeks.
Yeah.
Results that they've been trying to get probably for the last 20 years.
Yeah.
And they did it the first time that we were there, because it allowed us to take all of our resources, maximize Brandon, Byron, our corporate staff, John, all of us to be able to come together to be like, how do we maximize our time to be able to deliver something that is significantly better than everything else in the area? And we have that. So when we go into a new area, we slap the logo on the building, right? And now it's our 7th, 8th, 9th location. What do we have? We have an instant brand recognition of, oh, this place does this. Okay. And then they can go to a website and an Instagram, not just a location Instagram. They can go to a corporate Instagram and see all the things that we do. And these are all the reasons why you should try us.
Yeah, it's developed into a funneling system that couldn't exist before because we weren't streamlined. And so we literally spent, like you said, 2 years streamlining the logos, slapping our logos on everything, improving our media presence, streamlining our service offerings, where it's like, okay, cool. Now, when I walk into a Station Athletics building or I see the logo, I know what I'm getting and I want to go there.
To finalize this, right? We had all different offers too. We still have 2 separate programs. And it's something that I dabble with. I'm like, like, you know what I mean? But it's like, we know what our direction is.
Yeah.
But that's the only thing that doesn't exist between all 6 current locations is we have these gyms do this program, and then these 3 gyms do this program, right? And that's something that we struggle with deciding what to do.
Right.
Okay. Because there's a couple different routes from a business perspective and a model that we talk about on a regular basis. And we just don't know what that is yet.
Yeah.
Right. But we do know what works.
Yeah.
And we do know that when the brand is the same, you just become that much more enhanced. So to circle back, right? Like we had an obstacle course dominant gym, right? We had CrossFit gyms. We had a CrossFit Light, which was like the women's gym, right? You had all these different things. But at the end of the day, what drove people through the door, Chris, was the results-driven program.
Right.
That's what all the gyms had. They all had the results-driven, hey, this is how we get you here. And it was all weight loss driven, feel good driven, gain muscle mass, right? Just like functional fitness that actually works and gives you results. We're all at all of those locations. So what did we do? So it wasn't just that we rebranded all the gyms to equate to that one thing, but then we went back and we restructured the entire offer around what we do the best.
Yeah.
And that's client acquisition driven to the best client results-based program.
Yeah. So guys, that's kind of what, again, it took 2 years not post-COVID, but
and a lot of money.
But 2 years from basically 2022 to today for us to rebrand. And so just so you're aware, that's why everything is Station Athletics going forward. That's why everything is the same brand, because we want to continue to grow. We want to continue to help as many people as possible. And the only way we're going to do that is when we're consistent in the branding. And so if you're a gym owner struggling with some of the things we have, that's something you're going to want to look into.
Yeah, just something to touch on before we end is you see a lot of these gyms going into like with High Rocks and all these other things. So they're embedding programs within their existing business, kind of running internal programs inside their programs.
Yeah.
When that shouldn't be the case.
Yeah, you need to keep the main thing the main thing.
You keep the main thing, and a subsidiary is a subsidiary, right? But you don't use that as a funnel, right, to like drive people in, because like now you have different offers.
Yeah.
So guess who you're competing with now? You're competing with Lifetime Fitness.
Right.
And no, you do not want to fucking compete with them at all.
No.
They'll crush you. Equinox, they'll crush you because they got a lot of offers.
And a lot of money.
Okay. And endless amounts of money.
Yeah.
What do we have, right? We have a single brand that has one direct offer that stems out 2 other offers, but they all relate back to the original offer.
Correct.
And it's results driven. That's why everything we talk about is client service, client service, client service.
Yeah.
Okay. Those things may look like client services, but all you're doing is offering something that really doesn't benefit like the brand as a whole.
Yeah, it's not a streamlined service.
Yeah. You know.
So guys, thanks for listening to us. I hope you liked that episode. As always, like and subscribe to us on YouTube, Instagram, and the podcast platform you listen to us on. We'll see you at the gym.
Peace.